A juggernaut is generally defined as something massive, powerful, and unstoppable. In sports, it's used to describe a team or player so dominant that opponents can't realistically stop them. Football has changed. Schemes get fancier, rules protect players, and sometimes the fire feels watered down. But every once in a while, a guy comes along who reminds us of the raw, unfiltered heartbeat of this game. This year, Skattebo, New York Giants' hard-nosed back who just refuses to go down, has been that kind of reminder as a rookie. He plays like every carry is his last meal, like defenders are trying to take food off his table. Watching him run is like a flashback to an era where football wasn't just a sport, it was survival. And in the NFL, some legends carried that same mentality. They didn't just play football, they waged war on the gridiron. Today, we're counting down the top 15 NFL players who played every snap like it was life or death. If you love forgotten legends, bone-crunching intensity, and the raw emotion that makes football football, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the players who defined this game. This isn't about stats. It's not about championships or highlight reels. This is about players who poured every ounce of themselves into the game, who treated Sundays like battlegrounds and opponents like enemies. From tight ends and safeties to quarterbacks and fullbacks, these are the warriors who made the NFL feel like life or death. Let's get into it. Number 15, Mike Alstott. The A-Train wasn't built for finesse. He was built for collisions. At 6 feet 1 inch, 250 pounds, Alstott ran with a low center of gravity and an unstoppable drive. When he hit the line, defenders weren't just tackling him. They were bracing for impact. Alstott was the heartbeat of Tampa Bay's bruising identity in the late 90s and early 2000s. He turned short yardage runs into highlight reels, dragging entire defenses like his life depended on every inch. Fans in Tampa still talk about the way he carried half of Detroit's defense into the end zone in 1997. That wasn't just a touchdown. It was a statement of willpower. Number 14, John Lynch. John Lynch didn't just hit you, he erased you. His style wasn't about technique, it was about impact. When Lynch met a receiver over the middle, the crowd winced before the collision even happened. In Tampa, he was the enforcer of the Tampa 2 defense. Derek Brooks brought speed, Warren Sapp brought dominance, but Lynch brought fear. In Denver, he kept that same mentality, laying out players half his age with the same reckless intensity. He wasn't the fastest or most athletic safety, but nobody wanted to test him twice. Number 13, Steve Smith Sr. If you lined up across from Steve Smith, you weren't just playing a football game. You were entering a fistfight with a helmet on. Smith was undersized, just 5 feet 9 inches, but he carried himself like a heavyweight champ. His roots were sharp, his hands were violent, and his after-the-catch fight was legendary. He didn't just run out of bounds, he sought out contact. Ask Aqib Talib, who got into it with Smith more than once. Ask Roman Harper, who Smith lit up after a catch like he was the one delivering the hit. And of course, there's the quote that sums him up best. "Ice up, son." Steve Smith didn't just play football, he lived to break your will. Number 12, Marshawn Lynch. Every run Marshawn Lynch ever took was a war. Defenders didn't just tackle him, they clung on for survival. Beast mode was more than a nickname, it was a warning label. That Beastquake run in 2010 against the Saints is etched into NFL history. 9 defenders tried to stop him, none succeeded. He stiff-armed Tracy Porter into the earth, shook off linebackers like gnats, and powered into the end zone as the stadium literally shook. But here's the thing. That wasn't a one-off. Marshawn ran like that every week. He made football primal again, the kind of player who reminded you that sometimes it's not about play design, it's about who wants it more. Number 11, Troy Polamalu. Troy Polamalu didn't play football, he threw his body at chaos. His instincts were so sharp that he sometimes looked like a psychic, timing blitzes to perfection and flying over offensive lines before the ball was even snapped. But instincts alone don't explain it. Polamalu sacrificed himself for every play. He'd dive headfirst into piles, leap horizontal to knock down passes, and chase running backs across the field like a man possessed. His collisions weren't just physical, they were spiritual. If Dawkins was Weapon X, Polamalu was the wild card, the storm you could never contain. Number 10, Brett Favre. Most quarterbacks protect themselves. Brett Favre didn't believe in that. He played like a linebacker trapped in a quarterback's body. Favre wasn't afraid of mistakes. He wasn't afraid of hits. He wasn't afraid of anyone. He threw across his body into triple coverage while getting drilled into the turf. And somehow, it worked. His consecutive game streak, 297 starts, proves it. He took punishment that would have sidelined most players, and he just kept getting up, smiling through the pain. Favre was chaos, but he was beautiful chaos. Every throw was a risk, every play an adventure. Number 9, Junior Seau. Junior Seau never slowed down. From his first snap with the Chargers in 1990 to his final plays in New England, he chased everything with relentless urgency. Seau wasn't just a tackler, he was an emotional force. His sideline energy, his motor, his sideline-to-sideline range. He made every down feel like his last. There's a reason his teammates worshipped him, and his opponents dreaded him. Seau embodied heart and soul football. For him, life or death wasn't a metaphor. It was his reality every time he stepped onto the field. Number 8, Lawrence Taylor. LT wasn't just dominant, he was terrifying. When Taylor lined up on the edge, quarterbacks knew survival was the best-case scenario. Taylor didn't play football, he hunted quarterbacks. Every snap was a chance to end someone's career. He broke Joe Theismann's leg on Monday Night Football, a moment so gruesome it still gives fans chills. But even before and after that play, LT's presence alone reshaped the NFL. Coaches had to invent new protections just to deal with him. LT played like a predator, and everyone else was prey. Number 7, Hines Ward. Receivers are supposed to avoid contact, not Hines Ward. He embraced it, he loved it, and sometimes he even smiled while doing it. Ward wasn't just one of the NFL's most reliable pass catchers, he was its most feared blocking receiver. He knocked linebackers off their feet, put safeties on highlight reels, and changed the toughness standard for his position. Ask Keith Rivers, who had his jaw broken by a Hines Ward block in 2008. That wasn't an accident. That was Hines Ward doing what he did best, turning every snap into a fight. Number 6, Jeremy Shockey. Shockey was football chaos personified. His long blonde hair, his emotional outbursts, his raw aggression. He played like he was in a bar fight every Sunday. He fought for every yard. He pancaked defenders twice his size. And when he caught the ball, he ran like the defense had insulted his family. Shockey was never the most polished tight end, but he was one of the most intense. He gave the Giants and Saints a weapon fueled entirely by adrenaline. Number 5, J.J. Watt. At his peak, J.J. Watt was unstoppable. But it wasn't just dominance, it was desperation. Watt played like his body had an expiration date, and he was going to squeeze out every ounce of greatness before it was over. He swatted passes like a volleyball player, dragged quarterbacks to the ground with one arm, and played through injuries that would have sidelined lesser men. Bloodied noses, torn muscles, broken bones, Watt kept going. And when Houston needed a face, Watt wasn't just a star. He was a warrior carrying an entire franchise on his back. Number 4, Mike Singletary. The eyes told the story. Mike Singletary's stare was legendary. Wide, unblinking, terrifying. He wasn't just reading the offense, he was daring them to try him. Singletary led one of the greatest defenses of all time, the 1985 Chicago Bears. His leadership was as intense as his hits. Every play was war, and Singletary was the general who refused to lose a single battle. He once said, "Do you know what my favorite part of the game is? The opportunity to play. That's why he played like his life depended on it." Number 3, Brian Dawkins. Weapon X. There may never be another player like Brian Dawkins. Dawkins played with raw emotion, sometimes crying before games, sometimes screaming himself into a frenzy. His pre-game speeches weren't pep talks, they were sermons of fire. When he took the field, he turned into a different person entirely, a possessed man who lived for collisions. His hits were thunderous, his interceptions were violent, his leadership was pure inspiration. Dawkins made football spiritual warfare, and every snap was sacred. Number 2, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis was more than a linebacker. He was the soul of the Baltimore Ravens. He didn't just make tackles, he made statements. His pregame speeches are still replayed today because they weren't hype. They were war cries. When Lewis hit you, you stayed hit. When he led his defense, the entire unit played with his fire. Lewis treated every game like life or death, and when he walked off the field with 2 Super Bowl rings and a Hall of Fame jacket, he left as one of the greatest warriors football has ever seen. Number 1, Jack Lambert. Toothless, snarling, unhinged. Jack Lambert was the original NFL enforcer. Lambert looked like a man pulled straight out of a Roman gladiator arena. He wasn't just tough, he was mean. Every snap, every hit, every collision was personal. He anchored the steel curtain defense of the 1970s, and his ferocity set the tone for an entire era of football. Lambert didn't play like the game was life or death. He played like he was life or death. These are the men who turned the NFL into a battlefield, who made every down feel like survival of the fittest. And while the game evolves, players like Skattebo remind us that this spirit will never truly die. So tell me, who did I miss? Drop your favorite life or death warriors in the comments. And if you live for this kind of football storytelling, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Because this is just the beginning. Peace out.